I now call George Adam to be followed by Kevin Stewart.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. This is another subject that's quite close to my heart because obviously I'd like to talk about long-term conditions. My wife suffers from a long-term condition, apart from being married to me, that is, she suffers from multiple sclerosis. And basically we've had a situation as a couple where she walked down the aisle and now anywhere we go, I am the one that pushes her in the wheelchair to go anywhere. And we've had to change our lifestyles as her disability has increased over the time. And it's got to the stage where anywhere we go, we have to make sure we know where we're going, what time we're going, what we're going to do. And that, when I became elected as a councillor, obviously I became the go-to guy for people working with living with long-term conditions. And it becomes quite a difficult job because you hear some tragic cases when you're working within the community on these things. And I've worked closely with the MS Society in Paisley District, and we've worked to raise some money and ensure that we can get some other things for them. But a lot of times it's just something as simple in long-term conditions like talking to other people with MS. My wife in particular loves, there's a place in Maryhill called Revive Centre which works with MS, and they basically sit there with cups of tea in the cafe and talk to people. There's other medications and everything else they can do, but the biggest thing I've asked her is, what do you gain from that? And it is talking to other people that are suffering with the same. Yes, I will do.
Mary Fee, please.
Would the member agree that where a local authority imposes charges for buses to daycare centres, increases elderly and adult daycare charges and implements charges for blue badges, they do little to rehabilitate or enable elderly and disabled people?
George Adam.
I find it quite funny. 1 minute Mary Fee's saying I want no responsibility and I don't want to discuss anything about making any ideas and looking to the future. The next minute she's talking about the negative. Now I'm trying to be extremely positive about how we deal with this very difficult situation in difficult times. And can I actually say that's funny coming from Mary Fee, who in Renfrewshire Council voted for a Tory budget which was to close a care home in Paisley. So if I can move on, can we actually talk about the situation at hand here where we're dealing with people with long-term conditions? And the Minister is quite correct when he says we have to shift from traditional delivery of care, because the cause is obviously because of the severe financial Westminster cuts, but there is now a need for strong health and social care leadership when we're dealing with older people in particular and people dealing with long-term conditions. In Renfrewshire, we've actually had things like in Rowan Court, in my own council ward, and in Paisley, we've had a high flat where we've converted it to a situation where there is a social area down at the bottom where the older people can actually meet and be part of their own community, stay within their own local community and enable that they can still be a part of that without having to go down through the expense of someone having to go into care or anything like that, and they look after each other. We also dealt with the delayed discharge because at one stage when you've got free bus travel for elderly, there was a time when Renfrewshire Council were sending older people down the water for a summer trip, and we took that money to actually help with the delayed discharge fund as well. And we also have our groundbreaking ROAR project, which is reaching older adults in Renfrewshire, ensuring that we can actually work with everyone, ensuring that they work together to make sure that people don't get left alone. One of the things that doesn't work, and Renfrewshire obviously gives money to, and I'm bringing it up time and time again, is SPT's dial-a-bus system, which I have had over the years. In Renfrewshire, we spend £3 million a year towards this system, and I really get to the stage where it annoys me because I've heard of elderly people being abandoned at various clubs for no one to actually pick them up. People having to get taxis when at the end of the day I have a report from Renfrewshire Council where it would be cheaper just to have a 24/7 taxi service. And these are things that we're saying we're already spending money, and I think the money could be used a lot better. But the demographic change even, and that's easy for me to say, Mr Mackay. But in 2007, when Renfrewshire SNP administration came in Renfrewshire Council, the Scrutiny Board had a look at the demographic change within Renfrewshire and how we could deliver services. And that was important that we did that at that early stage, because we could see that there was a difficulty coming ahead, and that was even before the financial problems we currently sit in. During that time, University of Paisley, it will always be to me, but it's UWS now, an expert came in and that told us that the retirement age was initially created by the Prussian Premier Bismarck, when he decided that most of the people that worked for him died at 64, and he decided that 65 would be the retirement age. So they were trying to say that there's maybe a need that we can get older people to be involved in society for a longer length of time. But I think it's improper that we have the services for need for the older people as well, and we've got £70 million change fund rising to £80 million in 2012-13. 20% of that will be for supporting carers, and I think it's extremely important from this case. I've got a recent case myself where I've got a gentleman that's suffering from Alzheimer's and has terminal cancer, and all his wife wants is to get him back home so that he can effectively spend the time with his life partner in his final years. So, in closing, Presiding Officer, I would just like to say that I've mentioned earlier that we have to deal with the health and social well-being of our older population, and it defines us as a nation. There is a need to look at the different models of delivery, and this needs to be led by the health and social professionals. They need to support this chamber, they need the support of this chamber, and we must move forward together. The Scotland of the future that I want is one that will work to ensure that all Scots have a fulfilled life, preferably staying with their family and within their own community.
Thank you. Now call Kevin Stewart.